So we're big fans of spinach, and it's the middle of April now, and it's a perfect time to show you all the different successions of spinach that we've got that allow us to have an abundant fresh harvest all year round. And that means not always growing true spinach, because true spinach always goes to seed overwintered about now, sort of say middle of April, and then anything that you kind of plant now is going to be going to seed late spring, early summer. And if you actually sow it in summer, sometimes it goes to seed before you've even planted it out. It really doesn't like the high light levels and the heat. So what you need is a mix of different varieties that substitute for spinach in pretty much every scenario, whether it's eaten fresh or cooked. And it does have the advantage actually that it gives a bit more diversity to the diet, not just in terms of in terms of taste and texture, but also in terms of the nutrients that you get, because some of the spinach alternatives are just as nutritious as spinach, albeit in slightly different ways. So let me take you around and I'll show you all the different spinaches that we've got on the go. And yeah, it's such a great crop and we love it. So this is giant winter spinach that is going to seed in the polytunnel, and we've been harvesting this since about November, every week basically since then, and it's been an amazing crop. And I mean, it's still edible, it's not brilliant, the leaves are a bit thin, it's starting to put its effort really into going to seed, and some of it, as I showed you there, has gone to seed. Here's another succession planted about a month later than the stuff that you've just seen in the polytunnel. Leaf quality is not too bad, but this will also go to seed in a few weeks' time. It's okay, but this is kind of what you can expect now from overwintered spinach. Different varieties give you different sort of results, but basically overwintered spinach is really for eating, in my opinion, over winter. That's when it's at its best, and we will take something like 20 harvests off it over winter. And we normally grow it under low tunnels or coal frames, and that gives the best results. That's what allows you really to take consecutive weekly harvests off it every week. That from about, depends when you sow it, but sort of October onwards. But over winter it grows fairly slowly, so you need quite a lot of space dedicated to it, which means that as soon as you start to kind of get a glut, which happens to us about the beginning of March, then you really need to start replacing it with something. So this bed, for example, now is onions and radish. This one is onions and parsnips. But in December and February in particular, so December, January and February, otherwise known as winter, the true spinach crop can be a bit slow, and so we like to supplement it with these field bean tips. We just pinch the tip out like that, and that is a fantastic spinach alternative, even with the ants on it. And yeah, it's great. You just keep on pinching the tips out and it keeps on throwing up new tips. You don't really want the plants to get as big as this. You want to keep them like low to the ground and just keep on taking the tips out. So more like this, just keep taking those tips out. More will just keep on growing up from the base. The beauty of this is that it keeps on producing, grown outside in pretty much all weather conditions, down to probably about -6 Celsius, and anything below that with a significant wind can kind of really knock it back. But it's a great crop, and as I say, because it grows outside, it's a legume, it adds nutrients to the soil as well, it's really fantastic. And of course true spinach will also grow outside. It just won't be harvestable in any significant volume in winter, whereas field beans just keep on growing. But at this time of year, middle of April, this is what it's all about. It's about the spring varieties of spinach. In this case, red kitten, young plants, vibrant plants, gorgeous to look at plants. And these were sown back in January, I think. Planted out probably in February. And we've got another succession of this same one, red kitten, in the ground. That will follow on from this one when this one goes to seed. So then we need to look at what we're going to replace this red kitten with in about the end of spring, so sometime in May. And that's going to be Mikado. And Mikado is an Asian spinach, and those are just little seedlings at the moment. And they're only about 1 inch tall, and they're going to get planted out in about 3 weeks' time, so early May, and they'll see us through June. And this tiny little tray is what's going to replace the Asian spinach in summer. And so these little plants make massive bushes basically of wonderful New Zealand spinach, and you only need about 9 plants per square metre. So I've got enough there for 2 square metres, and that is more than enough for us, and we'll be feeding, I don't know, probably 8 people off that little tray of New Zealand spinach. And New Zealand spinach is great, it thrives in summer, it never bolts, and it goes all the way through until the first frost, by which time we'll have giant winter true spinach again, and the whole cycle continues. So if you're interested in knowing more, I've got a couple of chapters in my ebook. One is a guide to growing spinach all year round, which basically covers the broad same topics as this video, but with lots of other additional videos and additional content. And then I've got individual growing guides for all the different types of spinach and spinach alternatives in the ebook as well. So there's a link to that in the description. It's free to read. My name's Steve, this is the Seaside Kitchen Garden and Allotment channel, and I'll see you soon.